If you would have told me a few months ago that the Winnipeg Jets and Arizona Coyotes would have this many possible trades that have been rumored so far going into this deadline, I would have laughed at you because I just did not think it was going to be the team that the Jets would look to for help at the deadline. But here we are. First, we've talked about Nick Ritchie. We've talked about, oh my God, I'm blacking out right now. But we've talked about other people as well. But nonetheless, though, we've talked about Jacob Chychrun as well. Excuse me. That's what we've talked about. How could I forget? But nonetheless, though, let's talk about what Elliot Friedman said during yesterday's game, which was a terrible game, by the way. There's a reason why I didn't talk about that game. If you want to watch someone talk about it, go watch Zach's breakdown with Nolan Hockey Podcast. Great breakdown. He was there for it. Great reaction footage there for it. But let's talk about what was said yesterday by Elliot Friedman. So, if you haven't already seen, you were sleeping, you didn't watch the game, Elliot Friedman yesterday during intermission said that Nick Schmaltz has a potential target for the Winnipeg Jets going into the trade deadline. And then he started to expand on, other things with Nick Schmaltz, and we'll get to that eventually. But ever since this seed was planted on the game yesterday in intermission, on whatever the fuck we call it, sports and intermission, I don't know what they call their intermission show. But nonetheless, though, once the seed was planted, all this other information has started to come out about Nick Schmaltz being available for a trade, and why not? And Nick Schmaltz being a 26-year-old making $5.9 million for the next 3 years after this year, it just makes too much sense. You can see right there, 5.85 the next 3 years after this year at 26 years old, 27 now, excuse me. That's not bad at all. That is not bad at all. And what are the Jets always looking to do? Acquire term. There's a reason why, even though the Jets have the assets and are willing to trade the assets to bring in Timo Meier, they haven't done it yet. It's as plain as just simple at this point as they don't want to, bring in a guy that's not going to sign. Timo Meier is not going to sign in Winnipeg. I guess the relationship with Eli isn't enough, blah, blah, blah. We've heard it before. Let's not drag on about it. We always know it's a possibility, and it looks like it's happened again. But Timo Meier is not going to be coming to Winnipeg because he's not going to sign here. And it just does not make sense to trade a guy like Perfetti if you're not going to get a long-term commitment out of Timo Meier. So what do you look for? A guy like Nick Schmaltz that has no restrictions on a trade, that can go anywhere, has no say on it, and has term left. And is also not a terrible hockey player when healthy. Like, look at this year, 37 points in 42 games. Last year, 59 points in 63 games. So if he can stay healthy, he's a really good, effective hockey player. So why not trade for the guy? We're in a win-now mode anyway, so having a guy like Schmaltz down the stretch, another weapon to add to the top six, could be huge. And not to mention the fact that if you trade for Schmaltz, you're most likely not going to have to give up Cole Perfetti, which again goes back to the point of adding to this top six, not taking away a guy and then adding somebody else, because you're just stuck with you where you were before, but with a bit of a better player. You still have a hole up there in that top six, in my opinion. So you add a guy like Schmaltz, that's going to settle things up really nicely, maybe even bump Wheeler down to the third line, I don't know, but nonetheless, I think Schmaltz could be a decent ad. Like, the more I think about it, the more I'm okay with it because he's got term. And then we see two news breaking today, you're starting to actually hear real rumors coming out of Arizona that he's going to be traded. It makes sense to. And then you have a guy like Craig Morgan, who is well respected in the Arizona sports world, saying that he's hearing the same thing about them possibly shipping out Schmaltz going into this deadline. If Arizona wants to sell, Armstrong, if I'm not mistaken, didn't sign this contract, so why not get rid of him? I know they're looking to clean house out there. I'm just saying that the Jets, they could make this work. Like, if you are looking to go in on a guy and spend maybe a first-round pick, a guy that's a top six player, he's having a great year with 37 points, like, why not go for it? I think this might be the guy that you go for. Like, if you pull up the team stats right now, Winnipeg Jets stats, let's pull it up. And see the individual point stats, because I can't remember off the top of my head where the guys are. But with 37 points, that would rank him ahead of Cole Perfetti and right behind Blake Wheeler, with being right up there in top six in scoring. So he would definitely be a top six guy to add to this team with some skill, who has term left, who would be able to stay here for the Jets. So I'm down with this. I'm down with this because his contract is affordable. Like I said, guys, $5.8 million for a guy that is healthy, could put up 60 points. That's not a bad contract at all. That's very fair value. And if he stays healthy, he maybe could get even better and improve on those point totals. It could work out really well. Like, the more I think about this, the more it makes sense. Like his advanced stats are good. His points are good. He's having a good year this year. I think he would fit in well, honestly. Like, I don't know. I don't know. This one kind of gets me thinking, guys. I like this trade for Winnipeg. I think that if you're going to go in on a guy, why not go on a guy with term? You know, we talked about Matthias Ekholm, what it is, 2 years ago now already. My God, that was a long time ago. Sami Niku was the guy we were talking about moving. Remember him? But nonetheless, though, you know, we looked at him because he had term, but then, you know, the price was too much. I don't think Schmaltz, his price will be too much. You know, I think the Jets could make that work. I think they have the prospects to do it. I think they've got prospects that would excite Arizona. I think Chaz Lucius is a guy that Arizona could look at and really, you know, think of for the future there. I don't know. It makes sense. It makes sense. AZ Sports Guy, if you're watching this, let me know what you think about this, what you'd want from the Jets. But I like this. I think that if the Jets are going to go in on a guy right now and Timo Meier is out, as it's looking like it might be because of the commitment to Winnipeg not being there, then why not go for a guy that's got no choice? You know, like if he plays good, if the Jets are winning, he'll play good if he's healthy. You know, the Jets are a winning team. You're adding a guy that is in a win now mode at 27 years old that has never made, has made the NHL, has played in the playoffs for 4 games with the 2016-17 Chicago Blackhawks. That's it. He registered no points, and his ice time was probably minuscule at best. I'm not sure. Actually, no, he had 28 points. I'm not remembering his rookie season that well, but either way, though, 4 games, they got swept, obviously, and he didn't do anything. So he's obviously looking for another opportunity. I think that Schmaltz actually could make a lot of sense. 278 career points in 406 games. Not bad at all. I think maybe Schmaltz, maybe Schmaltz. Maybe Schmaltz, another player to add with Ehlers from that 2014 draft class. So I like the Schmaltz idea. I think that Elliot Friedman's onto something, and I think that if he is available, as it's looking like we're seeing, like from guys like Craig Morgan in the Arizona sports world, why not go for it? So I'm in on the Schmaltz board at this point, on the train, hype on the Snake Schmaltz train. It looks like Timo Meier ain't happening, and that's okay. But Schmaltz makes too much sense. He's got term, no trade clause, having a good year. It fits the age window. His contract's not too long, so if we do start to, not play very well and we start to fizzle out and guys don't re-sign, that's a tradable contract to move at the deadline, something that Chevy's good at doing. Why not do it? So let me know what your thoughts are down in the comment section below on Nick Schmaltz. If you want to see him become a member of the Winnipeg Jets, what you would trade for him down in the comment section below. If you're first time checking out a video here on Peg City Hockey, make sure to subscribe and turn on notifications if you haven't already to stay up to date with all things Winnipeg Jets as we get closer and closer to that trade deadline next Friday morning. So with all that being said, peace, love, and positivity as always. Go Jets, go! And I'll see you guys in the next one.